On May 21, 1982, thousands of British troops began landing at San Carlos water in the Falkland Islands, marking the start of their mission to recapture the territory from Argentina. But just hours after arriving, these forces found themselves under a relentless assault. The Argentine Air Force was determined to push the troops clambering ashore right back into the sea. This was the Battle of San Carlos. By mid-May, the British plan for an amphibious landing had been meticulously mapped out. However, like any operation of its kind, it was fraught with risk. Under the command of Commodore Mike Clapp, a vast armada of warships, landing ships, and even requisitioned merchant vessels had to sail directly to the shoreline. There, they would remain exposed for days, a sitting duck for anything Argentina could throw at them, until 5 battalions of Royal Marines and paratroopers could secure a beachhead. Facing them was an Argentine army led by Brigadier General Mario Menendez, the military governor of the Menendez believed the British could only win by capturing the capital, Stanley. So, he concentrated the bulk of his forces there, leaving smaller garrisons in outlying areas like Goose Green and San Carlos itself. On May 18th, the amphibious group rendezvoused with Rear Admiral Woodward as a carrier task force. A helpful blanket of fog allowed them to approach San Carlos undetected 2 days later. Commodore Clapp's ships made their final approach under the cover of darkness. Special forces moved in first, taking out an Argentine observation post on Fanning Head and suppressing the garrison at Goose Green. With their flanks secured, the British troops began to disembark from landing craft at 4 a.m. The landings were mostly unopposed. The only Argentine unit nearby, a small detachment under Lieutenant Carlos Esteban, put up a fierce rearguard action from a position to the east after realizing the scale of the invasion at dawn. They managed to down the Gazelle Scout helicopters before being forced to withdraw. The reconquest of the Falklands was underway, but the fight for San Carlos was just beginning. This video is brought to you by Bespoke Post. It's a monthly membership club that delivers incredible boxers of high-quality goods from under-the-radar brands. Each month, Bespoke Post introduces you to cool new products, everything from outdoor gear to home and kitchen goods, clothing, and more, all based on a preference quiz that helps pick out what you might like. For example, the Weekender box includes a durable carry-all bag, perfect for protecting your essentials on the go. Or there's the Explore box, which comes with a water-resistant backpack, a 25-ounce water bottle, a survival lead headlamp, and even a toasted coconut and vanilla bean bar. Each box is packed with around $70 worth of goods, but as a member, you get it for a fraction of that cost. And if you're not interested in a particular box, no problem. You get a preview each month and can decide to keep it, swap it for a different box, or skip the month entirely at no charge. You only pay for what you want. To get 20% off your first box, click the link in the description and enter Historiograph20 at checkout, or go to com/HISTORI Graph20. Thanks again to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. Almost as soon as British boots hit the ground on the morning of May 21st, Argentina's jets launched a ferocious attack on the beachhead. They were flying at the absolute maximum range from their bases, with no fighter escort. For the next few days, they would press their attacks on British ships with incredible courage, flying into a storm of fire from missiles, naval guns, Sea Harriers, and land-based anti-air systems. The attacks on May 21st targeted British warships positioned outside the main anchorage, acting as pickets to draw fire away from the troop transports. This deadly stretch of water in Falkland Sound would soon be known as Bomb Alley. The frigate HMS Argonaut was hit first, struck by 2 bombs from Skyhawks. Then, HMS Antrim was hit by a bomb from a dagger jet. In what would become a recurring theme, none of the bombs exploded. They had been fused incorrectly for the low altitude they were dropped from. It was a lucky escape for the British, but their luck wouldn't hold. That afternoon, 2 pairs of Skyhawks thundered towards HMS Ardent. One was shot down by a Sea Harrier, but the others broke through. 2 500-pound bombs slammed into the frigate. One exploded, wrecking the hangar and the ship's missile launcher, which had failed to engage the low-flying jets. Ardent lost power to her main gun and was left virtually defenseless when, at 2 p.m., 5 more Skyhawks appeared and made a beeline for the crippled ship. The crew had little to fight back with. At least 2 more bombs exploded on board, cracking the hull and starting massive fires that threatened the torpedo magazines. Commander Alan West, the ship's captain, had no choice but to abandon ship. Ardent sank overnight, the first major warship lost in the battle. It was a brutal day for both sides. Britain had lost Ardent, while Argonaut and Antrim were out of action with unexploded bombs lodged in their hulls. On the Argentine side, 10 jets had been shot down, a full quarter of all the aircraft they had launched that day. By the end of May 21st, most British troops were ashore, but their heavy equipment was still on the ships. After a break for bad weather on the 22nd, the attacks resumed the next day. For Skyhawks approached HMS Broadsword, Yarmouth, and Antelope. One was shot down, but the other two got through, and British-made 1,000-pound bombs struck the frigate HMS Antelope. Again, they failed to explode. But that evening, while a bomb disposal team was attempting to defuse them, one of the bombs detonated. The explosion killed Staff Sergeant James Prescott and started a massive fire. The ship was abandoned, and the fire eventually reached the missile magazine, triggering a spectacular explosion. The dawn light on May 24th revealed a completely broken ship, which soon sank. Hours later, the Argentine Air Force came in again, this time focusing on the transport ships. The landing ships, Sir Lancelot and Sir Galahad, were hit, but predictably by this point, the bombs didn't explode. May 25th was Argentina's National Day. Despite heavy losses, the Argentine Air Force summoned all its remaining strength for an all-out attack. It would be their most successful day of the air war. The British, expecting a major assault, moved their aircraft carriers closer to reduce flight times for their Sea Harrier patrols. They also positioned air defense ships to the northwest of Falkland Sound for better radar coverage. The tactic worked at first. HMS Coventry shot down to Skyhawks with its Sea Dart missiles. But that afternoon, it all went wrong. 2 pairs of jets approached from different directions at the same time. Coventry's Sea Dart failed to fire, and then HMS Broadsword's Seawolf system also failed. The British ships were virtually helpless, as First Lieutenant Mariano Velasco dropped 3 bombs into Coventry. All 3 exploded, and the destroyer sank rapidly. The bad news wasn't over. That same afternoon, 2 super-attended jets, armed with Exocet missiles, attacked the British carrier group. They hit the transport ship SS Atlantic Conveyor, starting a huge fire that destroyed the ship and almost all of its vital Chinook and Wessex helicopters. The attack on the conveyor was the last major action of the Battle of San Carlos. The exhausted Argentine Air Force, having lost 21 of its 62 available aircraft, needed time to regroup. In exchange for these losses, they had sunk 3 British warships and the Atlantic Conveyor, and hit 6 other ships with bombs that failed to detonate. Had those bombs worked correctly, the damage to the British landing could have been catastrophic. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look into a pivotal moment of modern warfare, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more history content. We'll see you in the next one.